Hey party people, it's Kay here and welcome back to the Reformed Party Girls Guide podcast.
And I'm Ray, welcome. We figured since Valentine's Day is right around the corner, why not talk about all our relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Lots of ugly on my part. I would be lying. Those of you who know me, I have a type. Let's just say the absence of my father really impacted my dating life tenfold. Why don't we start, I guess, from the beginning?
Yeah, I think you should start, Kaylee.
Okay. High school. When I lost my virginity. I honestly, all my friends were dating. All my friends were doing it, and in all honesty, I kind of just jumped on the bandwagon, and I dated the first guy who kind of showed interest in me. You know, I look back on it now, and I do really think I just didn't know my self-worth. I grew up with a young single mother who wasn't the best role model when it came to relationships. My grandma was a single mother as well, and I really didn't have good examples of what a healthy, loving relationship looked like. And I kind of jumped into it. I wanted to lose my virginity. I wanted to be able to say I had a boyfriend, and that's kind of what I did. His name was Bo. If you're out there, holla at your girl. How you doing? It was at my apartment. It happened really fast. I think we dated for like 2 weeks. He was my first kiss. He was my first everything. And we kind of just steamrolled right into it. I was 16 years old. And yeah, that was it. I don't remember much about it. No. I can't even remember if I enjoyed it, really.
Probably not,
I really don't think I did. I think for me, I had this like vision of what sex and what relationship looked like, honestly, from TV and television. Yes. And if you were a girl growing up in the early 2000s, let me tell you, what they were showing on TV was just not what I've come to learn and know about what is healthy and what is right nowadays.
Yeah, don't ever follow Hollywood. That's all bullshit.
I mean, we have, and it was fun, but it's all for the TV, and none of it's really true. Do I regret it? Do I regret losing my virginity that way? No, not really. I don't think, for myself, I don't know.
Was he a good boyfriend?
He wasn't a good boy. He wasn't really a good boyfriend, but it was all very juvenile. And I think, again, not having a good example of, like, love and healthiness, it's, like, not really something, maybe something I just don't know. And I'm still learning, especially where I'm at now. I think being 30 years old, I honestly still haven't experienced it. So Valentine's Day coming up, you know, you single guys out there. I'm here. Not ready really to mingle, but I'm here.
So going down the line, what was your relationship after that? Your next boyfriend?
Next boyfriend. You know what? It's crazy to think I haven't really dated much. I think, honestly, after Bo, his name was Gungor. He was from Turkey. He was my high school sweetheart. Well, you know what's crazy? You know how I just said I don't think I've ever had a really good relationship? I just completely forgot about this one. Yeah. Sorry, dude. We dated for 3 years. I just said he was my high school sweetheart, and I completely forgot about him.
We forget about that
shit. Wow. I took his virginity. I took it in the tent at his graduation grad party. Woohoo! V-card in my pocket. He was really sweet. He was really quiet, really soft-spoken, and really gentle. And yeah, we had a great 3 years, and that ended because I one day I woke up and I wasn't in love with him anymore.
It happens.
I feel like it was a slow burn, and I didn't see it happening until I realized, like, I didn't want him to touch me anymore. I didn't want to be around him, and I was just like, I'm not in love with him anymore. And I broke up with him, and I've actually, until Oakland, we'll get into Oakland, I've never broken up with someone before, or been broken up with. Oakland was the first person to ever break up with me.
Oh.
But yeah, then Gungor, that's when I was in university, and I dropped out, and I started working in the bars, and I started drinking more, and I started doing drugs. And then, do you remember Pete?
Yes.
I started dating Pete. Pete was this tall man who also lived in a punk house. Dirty punk boys. He used to give me UTIs all the time.
Like, why did you keep going back?
You know what? He had a fucking horse cock. It was huge. It was ginormous. You know what's crazy? So Pete and I dated, must have been 2015, like a long time ago. We dated for maybe 3 months. He still texts me. He still texts
one, baby.
He still texts me like every couple months. We dated 10 years ago.
Oh God.
Benner is so sad and desperate. Like, come on now. And then after Pete, it was this guy named Martin, who was one of my roommates at the punk house we talked about in one of our previous episodes. And it started off fast. Like, we were just getting to know each other. We were in love. But then we were also partying all the time and living in close spaces. And my mental health was all over the place. And that blew up. I think you were there for lots of it.
Yes.
It blew up fast, and as quickly as we fell in love with each other, we fell fucking twice as hard out of it.
Yeah.
And then after Marty, oh God, oh no, you guys are gonna like this one.
Is it Mike?
No, it was Jerry, the 50-year-old regular.
Oh, right.
From my work.
We forgot about Jerry.
So I'm like sad, heartbroken, just moved out of the punk house. All my relationships with those guys fucking burst into goddamn flames. And Jerry was this 50-year-old regular. I was 23 years old. 23. And he was nice. And he treated me nice. I mean, he was a 50-year-old man with money.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
And it was good. He liked to have sex. I liked to have sex. And it was great. His daughter, it was funny. I went over one time, and his daughter was home, and she was the same fucking age as me.
Awkward.
But did I love Jerry? No. That was just like something to fill my void.
Yeah.
And then after Jerry was Michael. Michael was a weird one.
Definitely not for you. He was so quiet, so timid, like
He wasn't fun.
He was no fun. Yeah,
Michael wasn't fun. He was not fun at all. Anyone who knew Michael and anyone who knew me would both look at us and go, what? How is this? What? How is this working? And like Michael and I would text once a week, we'd figure out what day we both had off to hang out, and that was it. There was no deeper connection. We didn't talk. We didn't know each other. We dated for like a year and a half.
Was that long?
Yeah, I think for me, what I got from Michael was having a boyfriend again, just to have one. Because also like Michael didn't really do drugs. He wasn't into the party scene like I was. I remember we would go out and I would have a stash bag.
We'd hide it from
We
him.
would hide it from him. And then like when I would go back to his place at night, like he would be asleep and I would be in bed like fucking not able to fall asleep, and it was uncomfortable. Yeah. But it was a relationship where I could hide that and then still have kind of my Prince Charming relationship, you know, that was very surface level, but was there. And I actually cheated on Michael.
Oh, you did?
I did. I cheated on Michael, and I told him.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it ended.
Yeah. I think you told him about the drugs as well.
Yeah,
right?
about the drugs, and it just, you know what? When you lie to someone like that, it just doesn't feel good or sit well. And I think what I learned is like that karma will catch up to you. Mm-hmm. It really will, and it caught up to me, and you know, I don't think Michael and I should have ever been in a relationship, and I think I was presenting a version of myself that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. And if you're listening to this, Michael, I'm really sorry. I'll take my accountability there as a grown adult, and I see all the wrong and unfairness I did in that relationship, and so for that, if you're listening or if you're out there, you know, I'll put it out to the universe that I'm sorry about that one.
You're not that person anymore.
I'm not that person anymore. And again, like, not blaming, like, the drinking and the alcohol, but it gives you excuses for behavior. It really does. Or it even just, like, blacks it all out, right? Yeah. It's super easy to have a night of drinking and forget, like, all of the terrible things that kind of happen while you're doing that. So I'm learning.
Yes.
I wish I learned sooner after like my relationship with Oakland. That's the one that honestly absolutely destroyed me. I'd never been in a relationship with a narcissist before. So any of my girlies out there listening, I sympathize with you. I understand you. It's fucking crazy and absolutely mind-bending, the sort of emotional torture and torment that a narcissist will put you through. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it was the 2023 word of the year was gaslighting.
Yes.
And I never really understood what gaslighting meant until I realized it was happening to me. Yeah. Have you ever felt like an instance in a relationship where you...
Yes, I didn't know that it was called gaslight. I'm like, oh, that's what that means.
Tell me about it. Like, what happened? Like, did you think you were crazy?
Well, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew they were trying to... And, like, that's so common for men. Like, when you bring something up, like, no, I didn't do that. What are you talking about? Like, making you feel like you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. And it's like, but you can't tell that to them because they're just not going to get it through their fucking head.
No, and they, like, wrap it around so much that then you get like they try to confuse you. It's like the confusion that they throw in there. Yeah. It's just like misinformation. And like my relationship with the narcissist honestly questioned my sanity. I didn't know if I was right. I didn't know if I was wrong. Somehow every single time he mistreated me and I spoke up about it, I ended up being the person apologizing. Yeah. He did something which I think is just like absolutely straight torture, is like he would give me the silent treatment. And I think that's what like hooked me on. Granted, this person love bombed the shit out of me when we first started. I was not interested at all.
So how did that start, that relationship?
So the first time him and I hooked up and, like, really hung out was the day I found out my mom had left my family to become a prostitute and live on the streets and live in her addiction. And I was really shaken up, and I went to my friend's place and cried, and they were like, you know what, let's go out. Let's go get Kaylee really fucking drunk. Let's go make her feel better by going out. And so we did, and we ran into him, and he knew all my friends I was hanging out with, and my best friend at the time was just like, go have sex, forget about your problems, have another shot. And so we went back to Oakland's, and actually I heard this was for only time he's ever said this. This is a man who is also addicted to sex and had slept with all my friends, which is why I was also very much not interested in him.
Yeah.
But I was drunk in his bed, and he came out and asked my friends, like, I think she's too drunk. I don't think this is a good idea.
Really?
You didn't know this? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, no, she's fine.
What?
Yeah. And that was the first time we hooked up.
Wow.
It was like, I had found out some really horrible news. And then after that, he started texting me every day. He didn't have a job, so he was able to pick me up whenever. He bought me tickets. We went and saw Cirque du Soleil. He would take me out for dinner. We started dating, and he was always around, around my work schedule. And, I had been single for 3 years prior to that. So all of that male attention all of a sudden was something I wasn't used to. And so I really fell for him. He was nice. He would buy me flowers. He would, take me out. He seemed interested in me.
And he was fun and wild, just
he
like
was
you.
fun.
Yeah.
We were fun. And we would go see plays. We went to WWE wrestling. Him and I would dress up. We used to sing musicals together. I do feel, and maybe this is still part of me that's in love with him. And I think will be a piece of me that will always have that just because of my chemical imbalance that happened. Is that I do think if we never had sexual relationship, I do think him and I would be really good friends because we were fun.
Yeah.
But after a bit, he was really into his addiction, and I think my addiction had peaked as well. And so it was the highs and lows, and we would start fighting, or he would disappear for a couple days. There was a drug house he would like to go to. And so I would get the silent treatment for 3 days. After he would do something wrong, he would, instead of, figuring it out with me bringing a problem to him, he would just not talk to me for 3 days. And then when he would emerge from that, then I had enough time that I started to miss him. And so, that attention from him again would peak me back up. And then we would go through our cycle. It's crazy. Anyone at my work would tell me this is how it would go. Oakland and I would be in love because it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then Thursday, you're getting close to the weekend. And then he would start to taper off. And then on the weekend, it would be party, party, party. Me and him would either be party, party, party. By Sunday, we would be fighting. And then by Monday we'd be back together, and it was this
cycle.
It was a cycle for a whole year. I'm embarrassed to say this, and if any of you have been out there and can relate, I had a really hard time not going back to him. I went back to him every single time, and I think that comes a lot with the emotional and psychological abuse. So I think over a time I really lost my sense of self. And it's crazy that love can do that to you. Love should be empowering and lift you up, but sometimes it can be toxic and messy and make you lose all sense of yourself.
Fuck you up.
It will fuck you up. And you know what? I really gave him control over myself, and he knew that. And that's why I think it got so far. And you know, I'm really proud of myself for being able to cut that off, because you know, I was raised around a toxic relationship with my mom and my stepdad my whole life. And you know, it's something that I would always say to my friends is that I don't want to be anything like my mother. Yet I had such a hard time leaving a relationship exactly like one she was in. And I think my sister and I talked about it, because my sister experienced the exact same thing. And we both said that I think we both needed to go through something that we grew up around, so we could realize that that's not what we want. We had to go through our version of love that our mother had kind of raised in us, for us to realize that that's not what love is. And so, you know, here I am a year and a half later, pretty much almost celibate after that incident. and I'll tell you the stories after. That's for a different episode. But I think coming into Valentine's Day, coming up soon, and talking about relationships is just like, I think one of the best relationships you can have is with yourself.
Yes.
And then to be able to be a good partner for someone else, you have to love yourself. Yes. And be open and be unapologetic and be unafraid of being vulnerable, and being able to listen to what you need. Because how are you supposed to tell someone else how to love you if you
don't love yourself?
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm at.
I think you gotta tell the story of the guy.
Oh, okay. Okay, more about Kay's escapade. So yeah, after that breakup, after quitting alcohol, you know, my life changed. I wouldn't say I was a sex addict before, but I was definitely promiscuous. And so I really cut back. Actually, in 2004, I only had sex with 2 guys, once each.
2004?
Yeah, last year.
2024, you mean?
So yeah, 2024.
Like 2004. How old were you then?
Math is mathin'. So the last time I had sex was with this guy I met at work. Shout out to working in the bar industry. It's a great way to meet people. So we're hanging out, we're talking, we're chatting. He comes over. This is the first time like we hang out after I met him at the bar. It's great. We do our thing, and he leaves, and that's a Friday. I work the weekend. It's Sunday. I just finished work. Me and him are texting, and I smoke a joint, and I fall asleep. I don't give him a good night. I don't give him a whatever. I'm exhausted. I'm peopled out. I just turn my phone off. I watch some TV, and I'll fall asleep. Also, to give you some context for this story, I have a back door into my bedroom, and in the summertime, I know I shouldn't. I've learned my lesson after this, but I sleep with the back door open just for the fresh air. I'm on the ground level of the apartment building, so you can literally just walk right into my bedroom. And no, I do not get murdered. I'm still here. So it's the middle of the night, and I startle up. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's this figure standing outside of my door. And I'm like, please don't kill me. Please don't murder me. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I was in the deepest sleep ever. And he's like, no, it's me. But I go open the door, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, I was just worried about you. You stopped replying to me. I had to come check that you were okay. And I'm still like panic mode, so I'm like, okay, come in. And he starts to come in, and he like unpacks this backpack, this bag. And he's like, oh, yeah, I just brought my sleep apnea machine. Yeah, he's like, so in his like middle of the night worriedness about me, he still managed to pack a sleepover bag. Dude could have had his toothbrush in there. You know, who knows? So he fucking walks to the other side of my bed, plugs in his sleep apnea machine, puts his mask on. It's the middle of the night. I'm still like, what the fuck? And he gets down and he lays in bed, and I'm there laying right beside him. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? What the fuck? Old Kaylee would have probably slept very uncomfortably and let this man just do his thing. But I had come such a far way, and I'm really proud of myself. I was able to tell him to leave.
Had a girl.
I was able to set a boundary. I was uncomfortable, and instead of being the people pleaser that I am, I asked him to leave. And the funniest thing is, he just left, and I was like, you can leave for your Uber. It's 2:00 in the morning. He's like, no. So I'm pretty sure, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure he stood out on the corner until an Uber came to pick him up. He was embarrassed. But the next day I sent him a text and I'm like, that was too much, too fast. And I never heard from him again. So, crisis averted. But
good for you for setting that boundary and be like, I'm not putting up with this shit. Sorry, dude. You gotta go.
I'm learning.
Good job.
Yeah. I think I've been in like relationships where there have been things that made me uncomfortable, and I've always been too afraid to speak my mind.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you know it's not the right one.
Yes.
You
yes.
know?
Amen.
So, like you said, the good, the bad,
the ugly.
and the ugly.
So good. Okay, you want me to go? Or do you have anything else to say?
No, lay it on me, girlfriend. I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are ready for this.
Okay, well, my stories are not as exciting as Kay's, but going back, grade 10, my high school sweetheart was a fucking asshole, but I didn't... like.
Was he hot?
I mean, he was alright at the time. Like, all the other girls wanted him, so they hated me for it.
No way.
Like, bitches would threaten would beat me up just for dating him because they wanted to date him. Like, fuck. So anyways,
I do not miss that.
Right? So I'm gonna call him L. I won't say any names. So we were together for 3.5 years.
Long time.
But like he was such an like he was nice to me to my face, but like an asshole, like talk shit about me behind my back to everyone else. And they would come back and like, oh, he said this about you, he said that, and of course I never believe it. Like,
yeah, you're like, no way he would say that. Like, they're just jealous.
Yep. And then I waited. We were together 9 months before I lost my virginity. I was 14 years old, by the way, which I look back like, you're a fucking baby at 14. Like, what the fuck? And the funny thing is, it's winter, and I used to always go skidooing with my friends, so that was my cover. Okay, Mom, Dad, I'm gonna go skidooing.
Did you have this planned out? Like, did you plan the day? Like, this is the day it's happening.
Yep. So I go pick him up on the skidoo. We skidoo all the way deep into fucking Demeray, which is like the ghetto part of where I'm from, which I shouldn't have named that name, but whatever. We sneak into his window because his mom was gone, so we snuck into his bedroom, trying to drink some shitty cooler. Like, I was so nervous, so scared.
And that's where the alcohol comes in too, right?
We had sex. I remember it was so fucking painful. I'm like, oh, this is the worst. And then, pack up our shit, do a skidoo back. And
it's over, right?
And of course, the next day, everyone already fucking knew. He told whoever he could. Everyone knew Raylene lost her virginity. And, it was
embarrassing.
Pissed. But, like, still, like, I thought I loved him. It's that young love. But, I look back, like, he was such a fucking asshole. And 3 years into
Did Did he romance you a bit? Like, into you? Do you really felt like...
Yes, like, he made me feel important.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, try to stick up for me, like, when other guys would try to hit on me and, like, try to fight them and shit, like...
that's because men are jealous.
Yes.
Men are jealous.
Yes.
And insecure.
Yep, and 3 years into our relationship, he cheated on me, and I remember, like, we were together, and, like, he had a cut on his dick, and he said it was from his zipper.
What?
Later to find out, it was from my friend sucking his dick, and I found out. I found out, like, way later from someone else. So I broke up with him. I never knew.
Later.
Never fucking knew. So, of course, I break up with him, but we were only broken up for 6 months. And during that time, like, he tried so hard to get me back. Where I'm like, nope.
Men like things they can't have. And once you walked away, then he's like, I must have.
Yeah. So, I don't know why. I did take him back. So, we were together for another 6 months before I moved away to college. And this one night, I went out partying, and I purposely made out with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, payback's a bitch.
Good
but
for you.
The difference between me and him is I told him myself the very next day. But not like, I was like, payback's a bitch, but like, I actually felt bad. Like, I couldn't live with it, so I had to tell him the next day. Like, I couldn't even live with myself, even though he fucking deserved it. And you know what? He didn't even get mad. He couldn't get mad. He's like, okay, well, like, whatever. Like, stay with me, whatever. Because, like, you can't get mad. He fucking cheated on me first, doing something way worse.
Yeah. And that's only the stuff you know about.
Yeah.
You ever think about that? Like...
Yep. And, like, who knows what else he did.
Yeah.
And then, anyways, the reason we broke up the second time is because I moved away for college. So, like, we broke up. Everything was good, though. We were still
kind
friends.
of in love with him or kind of falling out? At that
No.
point?
And then I found out more shit. A little backstory on Facebook. My best friend, I remember seeing her status. What she doesn't know won't hurt her with a smiley face. Come to find out later on, that post was about me because they fucked.
No way.
So I called her out. I called him out. And
how did you find out it was about you?
The same girl who told me about him cheating on me the first time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then of course he tries to turn on me. Oh, whatever, ha. Oh, no, like he was trying to still text me, like, oh, I miss you, I love you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, well, why don't you go fuck, what's her name? And then that's when he tried to switch it on me. Oh, ha, whatever, bitch. I fucked like 10 bitch before me and you got together.
Oh,
blah,
and then
blah,
he's
blah.
just
Like,
trying to be mean and hurt your feelings. Like.
Yeah, so I was like, whatever, dude. Like, and he's such a loser. I'm pretty sure he's still a loser to this day. Like, I should say his name, but I won't because I'm better than that. So
we'll let all of you out there speculate.
So anyways, I move away to college. Oh my god, college
was he
so
your
fun.
only boyfriend, like, in high school, like, growing up?
Well, like, during our, like, 6 months that we broke up, I tried to date 2 other guys, but they both only lasted, like, 2 weeks. Because it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And, like, I was like, no, can't do
no,
this.
thank you.
And even to this day, those guys still fucking love me, and they're, like, shacked up with kids and all that, and, like, sorry, dude.
Sorry.
Not into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, maybe, like 2-3 different guys I tried to date, and like they probably both only all 3 of them lasted like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And just like, nah, I can't do it. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Because I was still kind of in love with him. So, anyways, yeah, back to college. College was a fucking vibe. Like, it was so fun. All you do is drink and party. I don't know how the fuck I made it to class, but I did. And in college, at first, I just had like a fuck buddy. He was cool. We'll call him N. But I remember a girl who was a friend of his came down. Like he just spent the whole night with her, and I remember I was at the bar just crying, like he's not even hanging out with me.
The drunk tears of the boy.
I cried over nothing. So then that ended. And then I started dating my next boyfriend, who was actually from Brazil. We were together for 3 years as well. And then we moved back to my hometown to work for my parents. And, like, he's a good guy, great guy. I have nothing bad to say about him. But, like, it got to a point where we were just together too much. Like, even just me going to get the mail, he had to come with me. Me going to do any little errand, he had to come with me. And I guess the one bad thing about him is he'd, like, try to... Like, he wanted me all for himself, so he'd try to turned me against my friends. Like, oh, I don't think she's
trying to isolate you.
Yeah, so like, oh, I don't think she's a good friend because of this. Oh, I don't think he's a good friend because of this. Like, I wasn't really hanging out with my friends. And the turning point for me, and even before he left for Brazil for like 3 weeks to go visit his family, I was like, oh, I'm like getting sick of him. Like, he's like too lovey-dovey, like just too much. And the 3
starts to give the ick a bit.
Yes, so the 3 weeks he was gone, that's when I realized I'm like, I'm happier without him.
Yeah.
And like I felt so bad, but I just knew I just didn't love him anymore. And also like when we were together, he's like, oh, let's get married at this age, have kids at this age, let's move to Calgary at this age.
He had it all planned out.
And I look back now, I'm like, oh, thank God, because FYI, I don't want kids or marriage. I'm that type of person now,
No.
so thank God that didn't work out. But I feel so bad because when he knew something was up, because I can't hide it. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve, and you could just see it in my face when something's wrong. And we had a Mexico trip with my family coming up, and they already paid for his ticket, so I was trying to just stick it out till after the trip.
Oh,
but I fucking couldn't.
That trip would have been horrible.
And I also like talked to a sidekick about it, and then she even told me like get rid of him, basically. So that was like the answer I needed. So yeah, this one night I just told him like I can't do this anymore. And like he cried so hard. I felt so bad.
But you held your ground.
Yes, I just knew. He's like, what can I do? Like I'll do whatever to make it right. And also, I took his virginity, which I didn't know.
I was like Gungor.
Yeah,
same way.
Yeah, like in college, and he didn't tell me. It wasn't until like 2 years into our relationship that he told me that. It made sense looking back because I remember when we had sex. I'm like, this is kind of weird. So
this is where it goes.
The next day we packed up all his shit. We drove to Calgary. That's like what, 6-7 hours from where I was living, middle of the night, and like met his friend, dropped him off, dropped his shit off.
How was that car ride? Tell me about it.
It was
awkward.
It was like we had separate vehicles. He had his car, I had my vehicle. Thank God.
I was like, that would have sucked.
And like I've never had regrets from breaking up with him, but I will say like on the drive back, I did cry because I felt so bad, and I remember praying like, please God, let him find a good woman who will take care of him and
let him be happy.
Yeah, because like he was a good guy.
Yeah.
And so I was single for the longest time after him. And then I moved to good old Edmonton.
Let's go, E-Town. 780 let's go, baby.
Didn't date in Edmonton, to be honest. Like I tried the Plenty of Fish dating app and went on like 2.
This was pre-Tinder.
Yeah.
Tinder years, everyone.
Yeah, then we went on 2 dates. The first date, like we went to Julio's, and like he was like this short guy. I didn't know he was shorter than me. And like, I remember it was like a good date, good conversation. But I remember we were leaving. We go in the parking lot. Like he grabs me and kisses me, and like I'm like, oh, like don't kiss me. So I feel bad. I totally ghosted him after that. And then even another date I went on, he didn't look like his photos either, and he didn't drink, and I was in my party phase as well, but I lied. I was like, oh yeah, I don't drink, I don't do that. Like,
meanwhile, you've had like 3 shots at the bar before going on this date.
Yes. So yeah, I was single again for what, like 3.5 years as well. And then, my mother passed away in 2017, and then that's when I was going down that slippery slope, really getting into partying and the drugs. And I remember I went to see a medium, and she told me like, you're gonna meet someone soon. And 2 weeks later is when I meet the man who I'm with now. We're going on 8 years, and the rest is history. And I've never felt a love like that before. Someone who like actually taught me things, taught me to be a better person, to want to be a good person. And he's so well mannered, and like he's hot as fuck. I remember like
he is
tall,
he is
tall, beautiful, muscular, bearded man, blue eyes. Like he was so kind, and like, oh my God, so beautiful. I remember it was after Wine Fest. We go to this house party. I remember like just eyeing him up the whole night, and then we got introduced, and like me and him were talking the whole night.
Yeah.
And like I remember when he left, he's like I was like staring at him out the window, and like he looked back at me, and I'm like looking at him.
Yeah.
And even though like once my mom died, like a part of me died with her, like like gave up the whole marriage and kids thing.
Yeah.
But I turned to my friends. I'm like, I'm gonna marry that man one day.
Yes.
And I do have
know.
Yeah, I have a ring, but like we're not marriage people. Like eventually we'll have like a ceremonial, like just a little like non-legal thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's where I am today. We'll be celebrating 8 years on March 4th.
It's just crazy to look at like the partying aspect of all that.
Yeah.
And like how it led you to meet him.
Yeah.
Just like it led you to meet me.
Yes.
And kind of like the path that it took,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
and he's so goal driven too. I never met someone like that. I never realized, like we can like set up our own life and really like chase our dreams, our goals, and like just to be a better person.
He used to pep talk me all the time too. Oh,
I remember the story he tells me when he first met you. I think that's when you were Marty just broke up or something, and you're crying at the bar, and we walk in.
I did a lot. We were talking about drunk girl tears at the bar. I was the queen of that.
And like you're like audibly crying, like, you're in the middle of the bar,
like a wailing.
And that was his first interaction.
He was like, ugh.
Oh my god.
Some things will never change.
Holy shit! But like. Looking back, even for both of us, what a journey, hey?
Yeah.
Just looking back at those relationships, and like you do learn things, and like sometimes it's like, I do have regrets in life, and blah blah blah, but really I don't, because you're right, we wouldn't be the people that we are today. Yeah.
Well, happy Valentine's, everyone.
And make good decisions.
Make good decisions, or don't.
Or don't.
And if you don't, we want to hear about it.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.